Imagine your club winning the FA Cup against the best team in Europe, having spent most of your existence in the lower leagues. Pretty amazing, right? Then imagine that exact same club 15 years later being relocated 80 miles away, torn from the area that they'd been in for over 100 years. But that's exactly what happened to Wimbledon FC, but it only took them 9 years after their rebirth as AFC Wimbledon to return to league football, and only 16 years to get back into League One, to play against a team that was torn away from them, and Wimbledon fans are loving it.
So AFC for me means A Fans Club. That's what to me it stands for.
So this is a story that's actually particularly close to my heart. Now, I was actually only born a stone's throw away from Plough Lane, the ground that Wimbledon had between 1912 and 1991. However, the whole story is just one that I think all football fans can resonate with and understand because of the amazing highs but also the terrible lows that those Dons fans have been through. So most famously, the Crazy Gang won the 1998 FA Cup against Liverpool at Wembley, having spent most of their existence knocking around the lower leagues. However, things quickly turned sour after this amazing triumph.
I mean, post-Hillsborough, the state of football stadium had to change, and Plough Lane wasn't up to it. So the former owners of the club decided to move us to Selhurst Park to share with Crystal Palace. And I think that, support did dwindle somewhat after that. And for a lot of people, the local connections were lost once we moved out of the borough.
And after losing their home, they had to move into Selhurst Park with Crystal Palace, a move the fans really weren't happy about.
I think we're playing Liverpool at home. It's one of our early games, and there was all the, there's the lady roving reporter outside. I think it's the first time, obviously Sky didn't really want to come to Wimbledon, and she was like trying to stop. Excuse me, you're going to talk about me? And everyone was just blanking her. And I went to my mates. Yeah, I'll go and take the piss. Come on, let me do it. So I sort of rocks over there.
It's nothing like Plough Lane, it's a totally different atmosphere. It's like too big, no one ever goes in the seats. All it is like all the away fans down one end and all us like down the other end, and there's no one in the middle, so you hate it.
I think it's increased competition between the two clubs.
Between us and Palace, we've always hated Palace, so.
And yeah, I mean, it was early days, and it really was how I described it. There was this huge, gaping, hideous old stadium. Wimbledon fans down one end, away fans down the other, this gaping hole in the middle. There's no atmosphere compared to a tiny little tight ground that Plough Lane had been. And we've obviously didn't have the fans to fill it. We never were going to, and it was all about, obviously, which I understand the revenue from the away fans, but it wasn't a fit at all for us.
And whilst the 90s weren't good or bad for the Dons, it was the new millennium that really brought in the bad times. 2 Norwegians came and took over the club with one thing in mind, was moving the Dons, whether that be to Dublin or in the end the place they settled on, Milton Keynes. This season also saw their 15-year stint in the top flight come to an end, and in 2002 their move to Buckinghamshire was all but confirmed. They then suffered another relegation, and by the end of 2004 Wimbledon FC no longer existed, with MK Dons taking their place in the league, who also finished just outside the relegation zone on goal difference.
I think a lot of us just didn't believe it would happen, and that the Norwegians wouldn't do it, and that the FA would say no anyway. And so a lot of us were probably in denial for quite a long period of time. But obviously there was a lot of protests going on.
Now, as we all know, this wasn't the end for the real Dons. After a quick meeting at the Fox and Grapes pub on Wimbledon Common, the idea for AFC Wimbledon was born. So they basically applied to every league they possibly could and found themselves in the Combined Counties League Premier Division, one of the lowest divisions in English football. But despite this, often got gates of over 4,000 at their games.
My first exposure to the fact that it wasn't 20 or 30 people who turned up, it was a lot of people, and you suddenly thought, actually, this is real and it has some energy. And then we had our first friendly against Sutton United in July 2002, and it wasn't 200 or 300 who turned up. They stopped counting at 6,000 or whatever the maximum capacity of the ground was, and suddenly we thought, this really is real. And I think we were all completely surprised by that. And at that point we thought, this is a thing. This has got some momentum to it.
And the promotions came thick and fast for Wimbledon, finding themselves in League Two just 9 years after having trials on Wimbledon Common after their conception.
It just every season it got a bit more professional, better team. You know, I think some of the players became, there's different managers as well, and just, you know, people started to really believe, fucking hell, we could maybe get back in the league. What a story that would be. You know, I think what the determination, I think, for most AFC fans was to actually fucking show the government, the world, but more importantly, the Milton Keynes scum, that we didn't, you know, you can take away our league position and our history and stuff, but we are going to come back and rise from the ashes.
And after a few mediocre seasons in League Two in the 2015-16 season, they got to the playoff final where they play against Plymouth 14 years to the day after their conception, and in the same ground as that 88 FA Cup win. Now I was at the game, and even though I'm not a Wimbledon supporter myself, the atmosphere was amazing and I loved every second of it. And with the win against Plymouth Argyle, the Dons found themselves in League One against MK, something they hadn't been able to do ever before.
Yeah, Wembley was really exhilarating, exhausting. We were absolutely shattered, don't we, from the big day out. But it was just fabulous. Once again, it's very similar to 88. You know, Plymouth had 3/4 of the ground. We had our little pocket. We sung all the way through. You know, and just for the beast to actually, you know, grab the ball off the penalty taker and smash it home in front of us.
So it was just a really good, feel-good atmosphere to the playoff final. It wasn't a lot of downside, there was only upside. I guess by that point we knew, and I'm trying to remember at what point we knew that Milton Keynes were down, but I guess by that point we knew that if we won, we'd be in the same league.
And having established themselves in the third tier and new plans for a new Plough Lane having been approved and expected to begin soon, the future does look very bright for the Dons. Now, one of the bright sides of being in League One for Wimbledon is they can go to Milton Keynes and play against and hopefully beat the team that was stolen from them. However, the downside is you have to go to Milton Keynes. This is actually something that I have decided to do. What a better way to get the Dons experience.
Well done, Jim.
So the game was shit, the ground was half empty, and the whole trip in general was just generally been awful. However, it was great to be just a small part of the amazing AFC Wimbledon story. Now, if you did like this video, leave a like on it, make sure to subscribe. There'll be a playlist up there of all the other ACJ originals I've ever made. Do whatever you've got to do, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.